But what I'm saying is that enough is enough. My people are dying, and it's not acceptable.
Well, Governor Adeleke did not hold back, calling out the Commissioner of Police in his state, Ibrahim Gotan, for what he described as deliberate inaction, revealing that he has already sent videos and reports of the killings to the Inspector General of Police and reached out to the presidency. He named Wole Oke, Boyega Oyetola, and Bola Oyebamiji, directly accusing APC leaders of breeding thugs instead of seeking votes and demanding an immediate reshuffle of the Osun State Police Command. Well, good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. We did take a story like this, I believe it was on Monday. This killings in Osun State has become alarming at this point. Meanwhile, the wife of the victim, Tolulokpe, gave chilling details about how her husband was killed. She says her husband was coerced into meeting Wole Oke's aide and persuaded to stay at a location in Esa-Oke, even as a Sienna bus carrying armed men in black suits arrived. She stated that when the first shot was fired, it did not penetrate, but alleged that a man named Fakunle Oladapo then removed a bag from her husband's neck, exposing him before the armed men fired a second round of shots and attacked him with machetes. She said her husband died before they reached the hospital and that Fakunle Oladapo immediately fled Esa-Oke. 6 APC thugs have been named as being present at the scene, and a formal report has been filed at Esa-Oke Divisional Police Headquarters, but no arrests have been made. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Osun APC chieftain and House of Representatives member Wole Oke has responded to the allegations, flatly denying any connection to the killing of Accord youth leader Aderogba in Esa-Oke. Oke described the allegations as false and misleading, expressing shock and sadness at Aderogba's death while calling for an impartial investigation by security agencies. So, Rufai, now, we have seen two versions of the story. Tolulokpe's chilling eyewitness account naming specific individuals and Wole Oke's categorical denial. The police must now do their job because the truth belongs to the Aderogba's family and to the good people of Osun State. You did see the video also of the man that was brutally attacked. He did show a bullet wound as well as, gunshots in his home. Your thoughts?
At first, I'd like to call on the governor of the state, Governor Adeleke. Please take Tolulokpe out of the state immediately.
That's the widow.
The widow of the person.
Aderogba, yeah.
Please take her out of the state immediately. Whatever you can do, get her out of plain sight. Get her children out of plain sight because she'll be the next attack. Oji, the sad reality is this. Nothing will be done. You see, when evil fester, it's because people want evil to fester. Oji, this was the same Osun State when President Buhari was there. Adeleke won an election, being in the opposition. Adeleke defeated the incumbents then. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes,
that's
Boyega Oyetola.
Yeah, who is now minister.
In fact, Adeleke went to President Buhari to thank him for free and fair elections.
The beavers worked in his favor.
You see, it is sad that we'll have to sit down at this table and call Buhari a true Democrat.
Yes, that happened.
Because that is what is happening today.
That's wild.
And wherever Buhari is in his grave, if he sees all of this, he's indeed vindicated being a true Democrat. Not that he didn't do a lot of things wrong. All of this started happening because of power tussle in the states. Pure and simple, the APC want to take it. You keep seeing that it is only attacks at the governor and the Accord party. It's not even attacks at the PDP. You know why? Because he's left the PDP. So it's attacks at the governor and the Accord party, and the authorities will never do anything about it. The boy that was killed, that his father was crying the other day, was anything done?
No.
At first, it started with the local governments. You remember how the same APC fought them over the local government? They were high-handed. Isn't it shocking that this is under the same president whose administration that fought for the local government back in the days? You saw what they did? Now this has continued.
Right.
It is sad that this is counted as political violence.
Right.
But it will be on record that you pointed out the story. And
I have. This is the second
time. But please, Governor Adeleke, take Tolulope out of that state.
I think that is a very valid point. I know Dr. Bati wanted to say something, but the point is that the governor has been calling on the police, and he is saying that the commissioner of police is not responding. He's been sending messages about these attacks that have been going on in Osun State.
This is the second time.
Yes.
First, when Governor Adeleke launched his political rally ahead of the election on August 8 in that state. The second time, he also called on the Inspector General of Police on the issue of the local government and also on the issue of violence. Our appeal will be that the Inspector General of Police, I promise that his men will be very professional in participating in this election. We have not seen that professionalism. And, all these calls just to serve as a wake-up call that the police and the other security agencies should not become tools in the hands of any politician or any group whatsoever. We expect that there will be investigation into the killing of Mr. Aderogba.
Yes.
Honorable Wole Esa-Oke, who is the APC governorship election campaign director general in Osun State. Yes, he has denied, but denial alone is not enough. The police should do their work. They should investigate. And Osun State must not become a killing field.
This is it.
The people, the blood of the people should not be what the politicians will be interested in. We need peace. We need free and fair election in Osun State.
Yes, the good people of Osun State deserve peace. And we're calling again on the Inspector General of Police to also look into these killings. Really sad. Well, and reactions are trailing a heartbreaking development. Nearly 5 years after journalist Pelumi Onifade disappeared during the NSAS protest in October 2020, a DNA test result presented by the Lagos State DNA and Forensics Center to the coroner has confirmed that a previously unidentified body tagged 1385 deposited at the morgue at Ikorodu General Hospital on November 3rd, 2020 was indeed Pelumi Onifade, a reporter with Boa TV. On October 24th, 2020, Pelumi Onifade was reportedly taken away by police officers attached to the Lagos Task Force. While covering a mob attack at a government facility in Agege, he was forcefully removed despite wearing a jacket identifying him as a journalist. 5 years later, his mother's DNA sample has confirmed what the family feared. And yet, the case is not over. The case is adjourned to July 7th, and Lasouth has been given a final reminder to produce the autopsy report of face compulsion. A young journalist gone for covering a story, confirmed dead in an Ikorodu morgue after 5 years waiting. Nigeria owes Pelumi Onifade's family the full truth and the full weight of justice. Social media is awash with reactions, with many expressing grief and demanding answers. And I will take one post on X. This is from Oluwakemi, before I come to you. Oluwakemi wrote, "See how a young, brilliant future was cut short. Because of what? He was not a criminal. He was not a thief or into fraud. Journalism was his crime. That was what ended him. When will this stop? When do we actually be addressed and treated like a human? God rest his soul and the soul of others who are dead, but still unknown to their family because they decided to question the government." Your thoughts?
Right. So Pelumi Onifade is the story of a number of people in Nigeria. And it's a sad reawakening of the level of injustice that still exists. There are a number of angles to the story. Number one is the risks that journalists and journalism is in a country like Nigeria. And that is very sad, that we're not still able to protect the rights and, in this case, the lives of journalists who are just going about doing their jobs. The other thing is that he was a young intern, so a young life snuffed in the prime of his time. He's a young boy, a young son. I cannot imagine the agony that his mother has faced and his family members have faced in the interim. But a few things here and maybe some lessons to learn. Number one is that I've already talked about the high cost of journalism and how journalism must be protected in Nigeria, and we protect the rights of free press. The second, of course, is what is now termed as weaponization of bureaucratic systems. Why did it take 6 years for us to get an answer with regards to identifying the body? There were repeated pleas made with regards to, and a court judgment had to be made for an inquest, the coroner's inquest, to determine the body of this young boy. Why did it take so long? It takes us back to the number of still missing persons from October 20, 2020, a day that Nigeria will and must never forget in the history of this nation. The other part of that is also a thank you to all the advocacy groups who ensured that Pelumi's story did not go, it was not swept under the carpet. A lot of people, we can see the protests of other young people, because it could happen to anyone. What was this boy's crime? That he was sent out by a localized media, social media platform to go and cover his story. He was shot in the leg. Reports reaching was that he didn't even die. So there's still unanswered questions as to what happened between the time when he was picked up by the Lagos task force and then when he was found in the Kodu morgue. Yeah. What happened to Pelumi within that time, and why can we not protect our young people in this country? I say it again, that Pelumi is just one of many others who have gone missing like that, especially from October 20. We need answers, and we need answers, and we need justice to be served.
Well said. Thank you, Ayo.
Nobody died.
Thank you,
because they're missing.
Okay.
Just coming up 6 years later.
As well.
Now we know.
Okay.
May his soul rest in peace. Now, we've been following updates on the building that collapsed in Satellite Town, Lagos. The 3-story structure came crashing down on Thursday morning, flattening multiple small businesses. And frankly, it is a miracle we're not reporting a massive loss of life. The Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service has confirmed 27 people were pulled alive from the rubble and rushed to the hospital. Well, here's the moment some of them were rescued, which has since gone viral. Let's take a look. This was indeed a good rescue mission. Thank God for the 27 that were pulled alive. But 4 adults were confirmed dead before emergency responders arrived. A 2-year-old girl was among those recovered during the rescue operation. But the real story here isn't just the collapse. It's the fury of Lagosians. This is not the first time a building has come down in Lagos. And the question being asked online is the same one that gets asked every single time. Who signed off on this death trap? Lagos is demanding accountability. Really, I know you guys discussed the story on the headline. I wanted to highlight the reactions of the Nigerian public. Lagosians are furious at this moment. We are going to continue to follow up on the story and to know why this really happened. Really unfortunate incident that occurred. It wasn't an earthquake. It was not an earthquake. May the souls of those that have died, may they rest in perfect peace. Now, let's touch on insecurity in Katsina State. 7 people have been killed in a fresh terror attack in Matazu local government area, the same community where the late Major General Rabi Abubakar was abducted just weeks ago. Residents say the attackers stormed the community in the early hours of Thursday, firing sporadically, sending families fleeing into the night. Residents have named the feared bandit leader, Kachala Mohammed, as the alleged mastermind, the same man they linked to the abduction of General Abubakar and his wife. And in a chilling detail, residents say the attack came almost immediately after troops from Operation Fasan Yama withdrew from the area, with one community elder saying when troops were present, they slept peacefully. But the moment they left, the bandits returned with greater fury. 7 lives lost, families fleeing, and an entire community crying out. Katsina is bleeding and deserves protection. May their souls rest in peace. Now, we will highlight now some reactions to this sort of terrorism that has been going on, with a fierce and uncompromising statement coming out of Kaduna State. Governor Uba Sani has declared that terrorists have forfeited their right to live and must be completely eliminated. Speaking on live television on Wednesday, the governor drew a hard line, insisting that individuals who kill innocent citizens deserve zero forgiveness, zero rehabilitation, and absolutely no second chances. Let's take a look.
In my own opinion, they are terrorists. When you call them terrorists, meaning they are people that kill innocent citizens. Certainly, they have no right to live. They must be eliminated. That is a fact.
So there is nothing like repentant terrorists?
No, for me, I don't believe when someone kills someone, you should just allow him again. When he's a terrorist, When we are trying to forgive people, oh, this thing is not terrorist. Terrorist is a terrorist, meaning it's someone that can kill, he can destroy.
And as such, and you are killing, you deserve to be killed.
In my own opinion, they should be killed, definitely, because they're terrorists.
A governor from the north speaking. Now, Governor Sani's words were blunt and deliberately so. Kaduna State has been scarred by years of mass kidnappings, banditry and fatal attacks on rural communities. And the governor is making it clear that his administration has no appetite for dialogue or de-radicalization programs. I mean, Dr. Abati, your thoughts on it? You know, first we took the story in Katsina State. Now, you know, we're hearing this sort of condemnation on terrorists from Sani. Your thoughts?
Well, the question to ask is what exactly is going on in Katsina State?
Yes.
Because this is the same Katsina State where we're told that the state government or some officials of government in Katsina State negotiate with terrorists, know who the terrorists are. In fact, there was a gentleman on Trust TV who was alleging that, in fact, in Katsina State, it's not just that these terrorists are known, they are even sponsored on pilgrimage with state funds. And that, you know, he even named about 3 or 4 persons in that particular interview. So you then contrast that with other state governments where, you know, the state government is saying, no, we will not allow, you know, criminality or impunity or, kidnapping or insurgency in our state. We have had the example of Governor Okwewolo of Edo State, who in fact came out publicly and said, well, there's no hiding place for any criminal in Edo State. You've also had the example of Governor Obasani of Kaduna State, who is saying categorically that there is no such thing as repentant bandits or terrorists. If you are a terrorist, you are a criminal. What you are dealing with is simply criminality. And we've also had persons involved in security operations who are saying that they don't trust that anybody will be repentant as a terrorist. And in fact, that those people, they could leak intelligence, they could sabotage operations. And then, of course, I think it's also Governor Mba of Enugu State, who is also saying there's no hiding place for criminals in Enugu State. It's that kind of resolve, that we should be getting from our governors. And now that a state police law is in the making, we also have that hope that these governors who have shown this determination not to tolerate impunity will follow up with concrete action when, that law, succeeds and they will be in a position to establish a state police. I also do not agree that any terrorist should be called repentant or be given a shobi.
I agree completely
or
with the
jollof rice
governor of Kaduna
or pepper
State.
soup.
No, I mean, a terrorist is a terrorist. Once you have killed, you have killed. And, he said they deserve to die. No more of these. These rehabilitation programs are really upsetting a lot of Nigerians because the question is, how do you tell? How can you tell whether this young man has actually killed? Once you have killed, you have killed. Well, all right. And Oyo State is back in the spotlight with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency uncovering a multi-billion naira meth lab deep within the forest of Tapa village. The agency revealed that 5 people have been arrested, including a Mexican national, with officials describing what they discovered as a frightening array of chemicals, industrial catalysts, and heavy-duty equipment. Let's take a look. Provide credit to the NDLA, but this discovery is deeply alarming. An industrial-scale drug laboratory buried inside a Nigerian forest with a Mexican national at its center. The presence of a Mexican is significant because Mexico is home to some of the world's most dangerous drug cartels, and their footprint is now reaching deep into Nigeria. This is the second major meth lab uncovered in the southwest in weeks after a similar discovery in Ogun State last month. NDLEA has warned that Nigeria is becoming a drug production hub, and this confirms it. The bust is welcome, but the deeper question is how many more labs are out there? How many more labs are out there? I mean, like I always say, there are different dimensions also to this terrorism, that we're facing in Nigeria. And, this drug is absolutely part of it. But you know that the Enugu State Governor, Peter Mba, has now commissioned a landmark center for DNA forensics and criminal investigation, a strategic partnership between the Enugu State government and the Nigeria DNA Learning Center. Peter Mba's message to criminals was blunt. Every crime scene leaves a trace, and we now have the science to follow it.
For those who seek to undermine the peace and security of our people, the message is simple. You can run, but you can't hide.
Great development from Enugu State. Now, the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, and Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, were both present at the occasion, describing the center as a major step towards evidence-based justice in an era of rising insecurity and impunity. Enugu is betting on science to deliver what muscle alone has failed to achieve, and that is a bet worth watching. Rufai, your thoughts?
No, Enugu has been on the ascendancy for a while, and Peter Mba has been doing, quite well. And when you look at the trajectory, he's been able to silence the doubters. Because let's not forget Peter Mba's story. His elections was very neck and neck. How in Kanu, East or West, had to determine the final results, and a lot of people felt it should have gone the way of Aderogba that time, the Labour Party candidate. But when you see what he's been able to do now, I hear he's been transforming the state, and you can see some of it yourself. He's even going to make forays very soon into the power sector. I'm also hearing, with some feelers that are coming out on the state. So this is leadership. As regards crystal meth, there's a book by Ali Soufor called Anatomy of Terror. I mean, Ali Soufor has written many books about terrorist group and things like that. There's a big connection between drugs, terrorism, and what is happening. Because all those guys that are committing those crimes, they can't do it without the drug ecosystem, because they take a lot of the tramadols and the likes and all of that. The question we should ask is, on what basis are these Mexicans getting into Nigeria to set up these crystal meth plants? Like you asked rightly, how many more crystal meth plants?
Yes, how many more?
Then the most important question we have not answered is, where are the bank transactions of their Nigerian collaborators?
The trace.
Because there's no way, Oji, these people are doing this without Nigerian collaborators. Another question we should now ask is, who are they collaborating with in Mexico? Because, Oji, we're talking about gang war, we're talking about a chapel.
Yes.
The way it's going, when you're having crystal meth plant, when it has a blowout, you might have gang war in areas and that. You also see that the ungoverned spaces in the bushes.
Yes.
It's Ogun, it's Oyo. What about other bushes across the southwest? So these are the trajectory we are looking at.
Yes.
This one, that one, they said it was worth close to $1 trillion. This one will be close to $1 trillion too, because this is a very big infrastructure.
I mean,
then are we tracing the money? Now we should not call on NFIU. There is no how that this, and where are these things being shipped out of the country, Audrey?
Questions, those are
because
serious
it is going through, obviously.
Yes.
Is there completing with customs? Is there completing with the shipping agents? Or are they using illegal routes?
Those are the questions.
Where's the security? Where's the border control around there? There's an ecosystem. But this is a drug market in Nigeria. Formerly, this is in Nigeria used to be a transit route. Now Nigeria has become a production hub.
It's become a hub that, as we're seeing it now.
And that's the sad reality.
Two stories in the southwest, two hubs in the southwest, and we don't know where anymore. But again, kudos to the Enugu State government for that DNA test lab. Like I was saying to you earlier, I mean, one of the reasons why Pelumi's case dragged on for so long was the question you asked: why did it take so long? Sometimes these things have to be transported abroad. This DNA testing. Now we have it here in Nigeria, hopefully, the fight against this criminality and true justice will happen in Nigeria. So kudos to the Enugu state government. Now, Ayo, to you. We're going to take this trending story. This is our story trending at number 2. The First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, is generating fierce reactions online after a viral clip showed her telling Nigerian women that starting an akara business does not take much money and that her Renewed Hope initiative has already distributed grants to thousands of women across the country. Let's take a look.
To start akara business doesn't take a lot of money. To start roasting corn, or somebody even said about grant, you see they're saying that kuli doesn't take much. We didn't give them a loan. We gave it to them as a grant. So we've encouraged Nigerians as best as we could. What is within our hands, I have given, and I keep giving. And those are the things we've done. I remember giving for TB. When I heard there's so much TB cases, I gave 2 billion. To breast cancer, I gave 1 billion. To food malnutrition, I gave 500 million. So those are the things we've been doing and making sure we can make sure that whatever this government is trying to do, that it will see the light of the day.
All right, the First Lady was speaking in the context of her empowerment grants. But many Nigerians online are pointing out that in an economy where food inflation has surged above 40%, cooking oil, beans, groundnut have all skyrocketed in price. Users on social media are asking, can a Nigerian household truly survive on akara sales in today's economy? And I'll take some reactions. This is from Constant, who wrote, see what our First Lady is saying with boldness. No jobs, high cost of things across the country, and insecurity in every part of the country. This is very ridiculous. Still advising fellow citizens to go and be doing this kind of business to survive. Another ex-user wrote, continue explaining. Kuli in this modern era. You want people to be drinking gari? Frying of akara, you need over 250,000 naira. Bag of beans, yam, potato, plantain, frying pan, and seats and plates. This person detailed everything. 25 liters of groundnut oil. You also need akamu. You know what akamu is, pap. And dawa joro. You people should resign, I beg. That's what this ex-user says. Well, Akin wrote, akara business is one of the most lucrative businesses in Nigeria. Startup cost is the lowest and the profit margin is over 50%. Akara sellers sent many kids like you to universities, built houses, bought cars, and provided good quality of life. Sadly, many Nigerian youth lack the mental and physical capacity to explore and engage the immense opportunities around them. You are doing yourselves, not the First Lady. Ayo, your comments.
On a lighter note, for your more butter, I'll give you 1 billion naira. For empirical data, I'll give you 2 billion naira. You get 1 billion. Everybody gets 1 billion naira.
But she was talking about in terms of the actual things.
I'm just saying that. I love the sound of billion. This morning, that she gave billion. Nobody can argue with the First Lady's generosity. And, you can talk about the ways in which, and I think it's important to mention that from her office, it's usually from, as she said, generous donations from well-wishers through her Renewed Hope Foundation, just to mention that. The other caveat I'd also want to point out here is that the First Lady, according to the Constitution, is not recognized. The person that we voted for as a people is the president, the person who has constitutional backing and who is accountable to the Nigerian people is the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But we also know that traditionally, the first ladies of our country have taken up one pet project or the other to complement the efforts of their serving spouse. Now, in this regard, I think there are many, many things that are wrong with this particular video and this assertion by the First Lady. The first thing is that it almost seems as if you're watching a video from 1960. Where they're saying that women empowerment, and there's nothing wrong with small. There's a place in our society for small business owners, micro, small and medium scale enterprise businesses. But we're looking at a Nigeria of 2026. We're looking at a Nigeria in the context of where the rest of the world are talking about cutting edge technology. Is the First Lady aware that women now run multi-billion empires across the world? That businesses like Akara, Akamu, yes, in rural development, in rural areas would suffice, but if we are talking about empowering women in modern-day Nigeria, let us talk about industrialization. That is the engine of a modern economy. And when you talk about that, you are then looking at the ripple effect of job creation, contribution to the GDP and the likes. Do we appreciate efforts in this small regard? Absolutely. But when you're talking to women, and I saw the people behind her who were nodding in agreement to what she was saying, you would say that we need a lot more. And if this is the thinking in Aso Villa, then there's problem. That you're looking at empowerment in 2026 for the Nigerian woman whom you're going to ask to give you votes come elections, and you're talking about, you're giving them that they are not being creative, that are not. We moved past that. How many people in the family that they come from have made successes of themselves really and truly in today's Nigeria by selling the things that she's mentioned? And even with that, if you want to set up someone in business, you look at the cost of fuel, because they will power their Akara business. The scale at which you're talking about to export is a different ball game in terms of startup capital. It is not what she's talking about. And I do think, quite frankly, it's about time we stopped insulting the intelligence of Nigerian women by saying that the best they can do is to be selling this and selling that. With due respect to those who sell it, it is fantastic. But what we should be talking about as a progressive nation, renewed hope, should be how should we industrialize? How can we empower women with technical skills? How can we talk about women owning business empires, manufacturing sectors, help women who are already against all odds are working? That's what we want to hear.
All right, okay. So,
No, that's why we do respect. There's a space for that too. But
I did see an Akara seller on social media recently. She's been trending, making a ton of money. She has expanded her business and all of that. But yes, we told you we will be reading your comments. So let's take a look at one reaction from Dr. Egbede on Leke Leke, reacting to the First Lady's story. Dr. Egbede wrote, "This one tire me, Akara business for poor women, and you were buying car for APC women leaders. This is the highest degree of hypocrisy and egoism. I don't think you politicians have any meaningful things to offer the poor masses. First Lady, please go to the market and see how tough it is out there." But they are giving you Akara option.
But other women can get cars.
So I needed to just read out the comments of Nigerians and why she's trending at number one. Say what you want to say quickly.
I know what I'm just saying is that other ladies should not even aspire to be First Lady like her. They should just go and sell Akara.
Okay, all right. Well, okay. I think we have dealt with this story at length. Now, activist Omoyele Sowore, currently remanded in Kuje prison, is speaking from behind bars through a powerful new social media post. Sowore shared newly surfaced video clips of his interactions with the late Chief MKO Abiola, the winner of the annulled June 12, 1993 presidential election, declaring that his commitment to democracy and the liberation of Nigeria did not begin today. He pointed to what he described as a striking irony that many who opposed or ignored the democratic struggle are now in position of authority, using state power to suppress those who remained faithful to its ideals. Let's take a look.
So it was in 1993. I was about 21 years old.
Wow.
And the military had
21?
The military had just annulled the June 12th election, Babangida, and we started protesting immediately. But while the protest was going on, we had concerns about whether Abiola was strong enough to fight the battle that we were ready for, battle of our lives. Because at that particular year was the year I was supposed to graduate from university.
Okay.
1993. So one day, we drove directly to his house in the student union bus and walked into his parlor. We asked that we should be allowed to see him. So we broke all the protocols, entered his parlor, and Abiola now, big man, big gates. And when we walked in, he said, who are these people? And I stepped forward and said, student union leader, I know you. Good job. I said, before you say any other thing, are you ready for this battle? Are you ready to die for Nigerians? He said, yes. Because that day I was wearing slippers and I was wearing my only Akara, my Christmas dress. And as we were heading out, John Momo, who is now the owner of Channels Television, was his own only reporter at that time, and his cameraman. This is the story of Channels. So John Momo has been waiting outside to try to interview him. He just approached him, Chief, this is John Momo, Channels. Before he could say it, he started addressing him, and that was how I stood firmly behind him that day. Just again to assure him that we'll be behind him for as long as he too stands firmly on his mandate. And turns out it was the first and the last time I met him.
This post has garnered thousands of views online, and the timing could not be more powerful. Sowore is currently behind bars, and is sharing evidence of a lifelong commitment to democracy. The contrast is striking. A young activist who once stood with MKO Abiola at great personal risk, now facing state prosecution for a social media post. Whatever one's view of Sowore, that contrast says everything about how Nigeria treats its dissenters. Now, Dr. Bati, this story is for you. We'll take our next story now. On Pastor Abel Damina, founder of Power City International, who told his congregation that feminism is a wonderful ideology when focused on equal rights, but argued that women who reject submission in marriage should simply choose not to get married. Let's take a look.
Ephesians 5:22, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of the Lord. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. To your own husband as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church. A wife should be subject to her husband in everything. That's what I told you in the beginning. If you cannot submit like that, don't marry. And if you're not married, don't seek for marital privilege. It's as if the wife is to be subject unto her husband in everything. Everything capitally, except it's not your husband. And that will include even what you wear. It's not all this women liberation that's going all over the world. Some women will not smile with me. Who cares? Keep your smile for your husband. Who cares? I have my own wife and she's smiling for me even as I'm teaching, right? You think say I'll send you? I'll not send you.
Dr. Bati, this pastor no send anybody. Over to you for your analysis.
Well, the pastor is not too far away from the Bible. The Bible talks about husband and wife loving one another.
Yes.
It says wives should respect their husbands. And also at the same time, the husbands should love their wives. And, he kept referring to Christ, that, if you have come together and is the doctrine of spousal unity, if there is love, which Christ represents, because he referred to our Lord Jesus Christ twice, then there should be mutual understanding, there should be mutual respect, there should be communication. In other words, a marital relationship should be a relationship built on love. It should not be a situationship, because once it becomes a situationship, then there will be no understanding. It's just that he used the word feminism, or in some other theory, in the literature, some people use the word womanism. And what I tell people is that all these activist women who say, oh, I will not agree, we are equal, another, you'll be surprised. When they are with their husbands, they are a different kind of personality. So it's just for, ladies, young women, to be careful whom they take advice from. Somebody who is advising you, fight your husband. Don't agree. You are equal. When she wants to serve her husband at home, she will kneel down to put food on the table.
I agree.
People should just be, wise about how they relate
to
their significant
wise doctor.
Reverend Dr. Bati has spoken well. I think it's important to always balance it, because I think one of the challenges is the emphasis on submission without also talking about the onus on the man to love his wife to death. The Bible says you love the wife like Christ loved the church and laid his life for his wife. It's not a competition. What I'm saying is a biblical injunction. I believe in submission and I believe in love. Mutual respect is also laid out in the Bible. But if you cannot do it, if you're not a Christian and it works for your home, but this is one that has worked for many years in many homes.
No, I think the point that I was making, the problem out there is that there's a lot of Olodo uprising going on.
What is Olodo uprising? Explain it.
Olodo uprising means a lot of people that are not even worth talking about subject matter, a lot of people from broken backgrounds that they've been disturbed and they just want to pour it out on innocent people out there and mislead young girls and act as bad examples to them without facing their own personal problem. All Olodo uprising are they go and get therapy. Go and get therapy.
All right, Rufai. I want to take this story for you. Just a quick comment where we have the Edo State APC chairman, Jared Tenebes, responding to a viral photograph showing him apparently wearing an INEC accredited election observer vest during the Ekiti governorship election is now generating significant reactions online. While speaking on live television, Tenebe insisted that the image is completely AI generated. Let's take a look.
We have a forum of APC state chairman all over the country, and we all agreed that in any standalone election, we have to go give support to our fellow chairman in that election. That was how I got to Ekiti, not to monitor election or whatever. So what you saw on the internet is a creation of AI. And you know that these opposition people, they know how to do that a lot. So I think it was AI, it was not me. It's clear AI, and they are fond of doing it, and they will continue to do it. And AI is going to cause problem for everybody in this country. The first place I saw it was on Dino Melaye's handle. And Dino Melaye is fond of things like that. He knows how to act drama a lot.
He's an opposition figure.
Yes, because they have failed. They've lost the election woefully. I think they were trying to generate one thing or the other from it.
AI. You advise people a lot about AI, but that's why he's now saying. He said it's Dino Melaye that he first saw that picture on.
The media you're seeing is from US AI.
Oh, Rufa, you're AI.
But it means that the devil can retire. You know, you
It's
tell the
AI.
devil is the
It's
devil.
the AI now. It's AI. You see, that's what I was telling the Nigerian police force yesterday. And they will have not said they are vigilante. They will have just lie on AI. You thought I was joking. AI is the new thing to lie on. Just say it's AI. I mean, it's in the realm of confusion. But you see, for AI experts, it is the same AI tool we are going to use to fact check that video.
Yes.
And when they do the fact check of the video, AI will point out if it's AI or not. If it's not AI, there should be questions to answer.
At least we have brought his side of the story, because we took the story now. He says it's AI.
Please, AI warriors, take that picture, screen it, fact check it through AI, debunk.